With a name as ubiquitous as 7-Eleven, you can be forgiven for assuming that it's all one big company. It's understandable mistake. True, they all fall under one corporate blanket, but there's a central company that collects profits in exchange for letting others take advantage of their trademark image. Large-scale advertising and instant recognition. So, while a corporation may take the profits, the stores are franchised, and even the franchises are under the blankets of a number of sub-companies, all which technically have the right to call themselves 7-Eleven too. In general, it's probably not an important distinction. There are rules to ensure standard pricing and participation in large marketing campaigns, which stores have to comply with. It's part of a deal that they use to make the brand. However, different store groups do have some differences. They'll get stock in some regional different suppliers following certain local codes and customs. And they're generally beholden from the subdivision of 7-Eleven that their franchise license came from. To an avid connoisseur of specialty goods, identifying which 7-Eleven is which can be a very serious business, as there are some special offers indeed where you need to look. The stores the most discerning customers seek out are those owned by the former members of the J.D. Sterling's convenience chain. The company started out as a group of loosely affiliated merchants managing general stores in the American Northwest, and gradually grew into a proper company, before becoming part of the 7-Eleven brand in 1949, only 3 years after the chain's rebranding to that name. Even as part of an international chain, however, the Sterlings have maintained their commitment to getting certain hard-to-find items into the hands of those who truly want them. Their specialty has maintained an affordable price that some would say does not reflect the true value of the ingredients that go into it. Even after that time, however, it is an item that the discerning travelers should endeavor not to miss. First, though, you must know where to look, for the most part. The Sterlings will still operate out in the northwestern USA. However, with modern advancements, they've been able to branch out more and more, and you've been lucky enough to find one of their locations further abroad. They operate exclusively out of smaller, economically disadvantaged cities. I'll call back to their days tending to the disadvantaged pioneers of the American frontier. In a city with several locations, the Sterling store would be in the poorer part of town, near where it meets the most prosperous sections. Sterling locations have a slightly more old-fashioned style than others, and are usually corner locations. The store is kept quiet, and workers are instructed to be especially polite. Once you find one of these special stores, wait until after midnight. Come in when the graveyard shift is on the way, and pick out a few odds and ends, whatever you think you'll need. It's important not to seem too interested in the special. They don't like to have too much attention drawn to it. It's only meant for special customers. Just take your time and finally come to the counter when you're good and ready. There should be a box of dried meat at each register. The one at the register that's closed is your goal, usually sold 2 for $1. If it's not there and both registers are open, both of them are open, just pay for what you have and come back another night. If it's there, then you're good. Take a few but not too many. Just politely deflect if the clerk offers a reason to take them from the other bin. This is what you want, but again, it's important not to make it seem like anything special. Once you paid and leave the store, you're free to enjoy the meat at your leisure. It's guaranteed to be some of the richest, most flavorful meats that you've ever tasted. The taste is complex and refined, with a subtle exotic spice that teases the palate. Just remember a few handy rules. Rule number 1. Don't be a glutton. Try not to eat too much at a time. Number 2. Don't be rude. Refrain from asking about their source. And number 3. Don't be a liar. Never swear you aren't a cannibal on any holy book. Well, guys and gals, this was an interesting creepypasta, or should I say ritual pasta, because it's more of a ritual rather than the average creepypasta. Now, aside there isn't any blood cliches in this one, which is relatively fine as it's just a ritual pasta. Now, I tried looking this if this was real, and nope, this is just a fictional story. It's not real. Plus, I went to the 7-Eleven stations and got the hot dogs as food from there. Just standard 7-Eleven hot dogs. And if you're wondering what 7-Eleven, I'm talking about like the gas stations you find around here in the United States. Now, this creepypasta basically talks about about specifically the company of 7-Eleven and what they do, or what said they did in the past. Now, granted, if this was real, there would be a bit of controversy because the beef jerky that was stated, like when it said in rule number 3, don't be a liar and never swear you aren't a cannibal, that definitely means that kind of beef jerky is technically human meat, which is definitely fucked up in my opinion. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was that this is more of those ritual pastas that doesn't talk much about the blood, just talks about the company. With all that aside, what would you rate this creepypasta and what would you change to make it better? This is Jeffrey Simberski signing out.